What's up, guys? Reading Funk coming at you today with a quick book haul. I visited a few different thrift stores and I've come up with 10 books here. So I'm going to go through them. The first one I'm mentioning is The Brethren by John Grisham. You know, the first adult novel that I ever read was either Desperation by Stephen King or it was A Time to Kill by John Grisham. And I liked both those books, but I really have liked just about every John Grisham book that I've tried. I liked Rogue Lawyer, and I loved and highly recommend his Southern novel, his drama. It's a non-legal thriller called A Painted House. I really enjoyed that one, so looking forward to another legal thriller by John Grisham. Trying to broaden my horizons as a reader, and I got an Agatha Christie. It's called Black Coffee. You know, I think maybe I read one of her books years ago, but it's been so long now that I just can't clearly recall if I've read her or not. But I'll definitely know that I've read her once I finish Black Coffee. You know, when it comes to mystery books, Agatha Christie is like the standard by which many people judge other books and authors. So looking forward to Black Coffee. Here's a collection I got of Edgar Allan Poe's works. Great Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe, complete and unabridged. So yeah, I'm actually reading a different collection, probably about half the length that this one is right now. I read a ghost story in it, a ghost ship story that was really good. So yeah, I saw this, picked up another one, looking forward to some more Edgar Allan Poe. Up next here, guys, I actually owned the original trilogy in hardback, but I've lost them. I've looked everywhere in my home, can't find them. So I picked up The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which I already read. I highly recommend it. You know, I really like Lisbeth Salander, so I picked that up, and I'm going to be reading later this year the second volume in the series, The Girl Who Played with Fire. But I had to pick that paperback up of Dragon Tattoo because apparently I lost the copy that I had. Up next here, recently I finished Inferno by Dan Brown. Thought it was pretty good, so I got Dante's Inferno, which is an epic poem and a piece of classic literature. I'm really looking forward to this because in Inferno by Dan Brown, this is mentioned quite a few times. This inspired Inferno by Dan Brown, and I know that it's written in kind of like verse. Wow, there are even pictures in it. So not sure if I'm going to be thrilled with it, but I'm going to read it for sure. Next up here, well, actually, let me show you this one. I want to read this guy because everybody loves him, for the most part anyway. Ed McBain, Doors. I don't think I've ever heard a negative critique on Ed McBain. He was, you know, one of the classic cop, detective, police, mystery, thriller writers. And I just picked this up because it was a buck. And I want to get an Ed McBain under my belt, so I got Doors. Here's another kind of classic by Machiavelli, The Prince. You know, I assume this is a philosophical piece. It must be. I've heard it referenced many times, and it's not very lengthy, so I picked this up for $2, and I think that I'm going to go away with probably a positive recommendation on this one. Really looking forward to it, especially because it looks like it'll be a breeze of a read. Next up here, another crime writer. I know Stephen King really likes this guy. He's mentioned him before. John D. MacDonald. This one is The Dreadful Lemon Sky, which is a Travis McGee novel. It's going to be a detective murder mystery, I'm sure, but I've never read John D. MacDonald. But I will later this year. It's not very lengthy either. You know, you can tell when a paperback is an older one when it has like the green or the pink or the yellow on the outside edge of the pages. So, you know, this thing's like one step away from being considered a classic probably. Really looking forward to it. Here's another philosophical piece by Voltaire, Candide. Not really sure there, but this is a novel, I'm assuming. You know, it's not very lengthy. Either, yeah, it's written up in the way of a novel. I guess it's probably going to be a classical, philosophical type novel. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books. If you enjoyed any of them, if you have a different recommendation for me, let me know. I don't even know what this thing is, but I saw the name on it, Voltaire, and I said, you know what? I need to read a Voltaire. I've never read one, so I picked up some authors here that I've never read before, and I'm really looking forward to reading and reviewing these things here in the near future on my channel. Got one more for you guys. Really looking forward to this one. And this is my fiction channel, of course, so I do novels here and short stories and novellas. Might even get into some poems here in the near future, especially with this Dante's Inferno. But I did pick up a piece of nonfiction while I was out. I think it was at the Goodwill when I got this, and I'll show it to you here. Leonardo da Vinci by Walter Isaacson. You know, I read by Walter Isaacson, Ben Franklin, An American Life. And I was just thrilled with that book. Walter Isaacson must be a master at these kinds of things. And if you want to see me review this book by Walter Isaacson, check out my nonfiction channel. Just type in nonfiction funk. Matter of fact, I'll put it in the description if you're interested in checking out some of my nonfiction work. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one on Leonardo da Vinci, because he was like a brilliant scientist, I think. I know that he was a painter, or at least I think he was, but I know he was good with like math and everything. And he's mentioned a lot in Dan Brown novels. I believe he was mentioned in Inferno when I was reading it. So Walter Isaacson also has a biography on Einstein that I'm looking forward to reading. But I just can't say enough about how much I loved that Ben Franklin one. I learned so much history about the beginnings of America. And Ben Franklin was like a personality that I didn't expect. He was a real smart guy. And, it was really an enjoyable read. So I think this one's going to be a home run. So there you go, guys. These are my books that I've recently bought. And next week, I'm going to be purchasing a bunch of fantasy novels. I'm reading Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings, and I'm loving it. So now I'm on a fantasy tear now. I already know that I'm just going to go through fantasy novel after fantasy novel after fantasy novel, and maybe even a little science fiction. In fact, I know I'm getting into another Alastair Reynolds space opera novels before the end of the year. And I'm starting Peter Hamilton's Pandora's Star series before the end of the year as well. So I'm getting into some sci-fi. I'm getting into some fantasy, some classics, some thrillers, some mystery novels. I just can't get enough. So let me know in the comments if you have an author that you think I might like to read and review here on my channel. If you have a trilogy or a series or a standalone, let me know in the comments. I've said enough, my friends. Thank you all for stopping by. I'll see you next time.